Hello, indeed. Abdul, Caleb is here. Caleb is loving this OTC action. He like indeed. OTC. Abdul, Caleb is here. Caleb is loving this OTC action. He like indeed. OTC. Abdul. Raquel is here. Rich. Julie is here. It's all happening. Oh, Ian. Hi. It's good. How's it going? Patrick is here. And the other Patrick is... We're all here. Petey Pickham? Who is Petey Pickham for real? We'll give it 10 seconds, then we gotta do something. I mean, we gotta look. I mean, basically, yeah. We'll talk about it. Let's talk about it on the video. I know. All right, I gotta tone it down already. Hey, recording started. It is April 25th, 2019. Yes? Lip split update. Still split. Tried a thing with duct tape where I put my lips together like this and then stretch the duct tape across with a bandage underneath it to keep my lip closed overnight. And then that didn't work, and then I picked at it all day. So, you know, on that front, it's not great for me, but otherwise, a great day. I don't know. I mean, it's been split since I started this. Super glue. Well, that's a long story with the super glue. I had an allergic reaction. I can't even, you know. Anyways, no, trust me. Anything you say, I've tried. I'm going to get stitches. That's what I'm going to do. How about that? Screw it. Let's go. Yeah, the branch to the face, and it's been splitting ever since. Good, because you can't even really listen. You're not here for my lip stress, okay? It is a really big source of stress for me at the moment. If you were interested in my personal life, my lip is an issue. Which goes to show that I don't have too much to worry about. No, you can't. Ugh. Butter. Yeah, I've tried plenty of that. Hey, today I didn't have to. Okay? And we're going to just jump right into it. Dollar volume watch list. But I thought since we had the time, because it's not like we were recapping runners, bro. Do you like runners? Yeah, I'm fine with them. Thank you. Thanks for asking. We would do some low shit. Maybe a few things that have been dumped off that we don't know. Maybe we could use our stock screener. We're going to go with the flow, but I'd like to see what moved at the bare minimum today. And run the steps on them, because first of all, that's not great, but that doesn't matter. I mean, either you're in a runner or not. But first and foremost, let me say this. I really, really, really used to beat myself up when I would odor. When I would miss a run that didn't pass the steps. And to the point that I would actually go and do a investigation on why my steps were not good enough to pick up on these runners. And then I thought back to excuse me, all the different situations where I felt I didn't have to, and looked at the charts and I felt good about it. So we're just going to look at these dollar volume movers. Danner. And we're going to do the steps end to end. And you tell me if you think that maybe I was being too snooty about them. Okay? And then at the same time, I do have some openness to a couple of thoughts on. Okay? I might. So I'm interested to hear queuing. Nice. How about this? Let's do this one first. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but the IDAD filings came through, and all of us were ready to say, you know what? No. Why? Just in case if you were in the chat and you're wondering why I tried to buy IDAD, even though, there was a known custodian as the CEO, David Lazar. David Lazar is up to what, 22 tickers that are going current now? 22 bags that were custodianships that were loaded or pumped or whatever. And I looked at it knowing it was Lazar, but you just never ever know. So if you look at IDAD, okay, cool. Let's do it. Anyone else curious about this one? I am a dad. And you know what? I didn't think I wanted to be. And now that I am, I was wondering what I was doing with my life prior to being a dad. Like, all that I can think is I was just trying to purchase consumer products and eat. Like, what was my plan? So now that IDAD, I feel like I have a lot more purpose. I don't know. Anyways, so we're looking at IDAD. It's dub 68, and you're saying, okay, well, the float here as of 2013 is 25 million. And we've got disclosures that are showing an empty shell. We went through the quarterly report and we saw an empty shell. But on my way through it, I was scrolling through and I noticed something here. As of March 31st, 2019, there are 5.3 million shares in the float. Okay? At the price that we picked it up at, it would have taken $36,000 to turn it 100% if it was right on the bottom. $36,000 in volume to turn it 100%. Why is it then that it did 68,000 and 66%? We can get into that. But I was watching the market today, and I think Jonathan, you know, and Rich and some of y'all out there, you would agree that there wasn't any notable runner out there that passed steps and was legitimately decent. Oh, this hair. And so people were looking for a trade somewhere, right? In the disclosures, because DANR was running because it was being tweeted, right? But we know that tweet traders are the tippy tip of the iceberg of volume, right? That's in all the volume that comes, even to these turds that we trade, of all the volume, I'll show you how. Of all the volume that comes through, Twitter traders are just a speck of dust. RETC did way better than I thought, pal. So IDAD pops up. Oh, fuck it. And it comes up with 7 filings over the course of the day, all at once. Bing, 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 bing. The first filings it's seen in 6 years. So in that situation, when you're trading on this market, like that already is setting off reverse merger alarm bells, right? Okay, is a new company coming in? Is this the next big one? Am I going to jump into these filings? Because the way I want to read these filings, by the way, I don't care about what happened in 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18. But I do care about what happened in 2019. So I can just skip all this. I don't need that. Jump into this. Now, thanks to Andy remembering, I knew that it was a custodianship ticker. But I decided to go through it anyways, and I saw that the amount of shares in the float were 5.34 million, which is nothing in Dub's price. There were no notable runners that were happening to my eye, Dean, and a 5.3 million share float in Dub. So my idea was that for just a little bit of money, I think I wanted to hit it with $600. I was going to take out all the 0.0068s. I loaded it up and fired it off and said while I was doing it, just in case, if people are making boredom trades, because if you noticed over the course of the day, a lot of things were moving randomly that I ran steps on that were turned up to be bags, but from the steps, right? They were just kind of like a few people going back and forth trading for the heck of it. And I thought, well, you know, if anything, this thing with a ton of filings out on this day with this float, which is super duper thin, at this price, in this moment, I'm going to give her a rip. Now, if there was a volume vortex like a IRNC, right? Like, because you think, well, Danner was moving. Danner was not moving. $230,000 isn't moving. Like, it's technically moving, but it's not capturing the attention of the market, right? Like Tempest day one was 1.2 million bucks, and even that wasn't a lot in dollar volume. So, it was open season for something to take a few hits and hit a scanner. So I thought if this takes a couple ask slaps and hits the scanner on this float, people are going to look and they're going to go, okay, whoa. This many filings out all today, first in 6 years. There could be a reverse merger in there. I don't have time to read them because this is going way too fast. I'm going to slap it and then do my DD later. And then that chain reaction led to the runner that was IDAT. And that's the play that some of us, Nick, Chris, a bunch of people, and $67,000 on that float ain't bad. If you are using your size correctly, that's the play that a bunch of people were hoping for. And that's really the distillation of the thought process on it. Does this cover it off? Is there anything else you'd be interested? But just right here, you can do it one of two ways, right? I use otcre.com. And this isn't, you don't have to subscribe. I find it to be super helpful. But for the years prior to otcre.com not existing, so they would have just all shot up here in the financial reports. But before otcre.com existed, the only way to find a bunch of filings that were pink only would be here on otcmarkets.com because Equity Feed doesn't carry them. And so I would just refresh the page every few minutes, just as a habit, I'd refresh it. And then I just saw all these hit the page at once. And then just dove into the top one because I don't care about old shit. I'm living in the now. Discovered that float, looked at the price and went, everyone's doing dumb shit anyways. Here's some high probability dumb shit. That's the best description of the strategy. RETC. RETC, by the way, Caleb, did way better than I expected. I was expecting trip 8 to trip 9 at best. At best. That's the strategy. The least, very rare interaction. And this may very well be the last ever. But because everyone, and just like trading in itself, I guess, we're all taking a risk, right? We're putting ourselves out there. So if the bar is already low, let's use the steps to find a high probability lowbrow trade. RETC, the float is at least 910 million, maybe 994 million. The question is on RETC, in looking at this share structure, are they currently out of shares to dilute? Or have they added AS shares, my apologies, to the OS, which in turn are going to be diluted? That's the question. on RETC. And that's why RETC, because this news, you know, excuse me, this news sucks. Okay? There's nothing good about this news. If I read this news to a baby at the lemonade stand, this baby would splash it in my face, the lemonade, for how painfully annoying this news is. Great, you just got more debt. And these guys are super nice. Don't worry. We just dumped on you for the last, 2 years? Look at this bullshit. That's not a forward split, by the way. We have ruined. We did a reverse split and ruined every single human being that has bought our stock for the last 2 years. But now we got the good guys on board. For sure. And if you actually look at this volume, Caleb, I mean, this is the most it's seen in a very long time. In ever. Since it got destroyed at the start. And you got 8 to dub 11. So if that's not still being diluted, I don't know what is. And front loaded the day before. So even if it wasn't being diluted, you're buying assholes off the ask all day long, which is why my expectations were garbage. No. Absolutely not. And also, I don't know who that is, so. I've never heard of that person. Not at this, and truth be told, like I'm kidding around, but truth be told, like you just can't short at this level. Like there is technically some type of shorting doing, and like Andy was talking about, like when certain market makers need to get shares to fill orders, technically they'll be short to fill an order. I don't remember. Technically, they'll fill, get shares to fill orders, which makes them short, maybe, and then in turn is shorting, and I accidentally shorted Falcon, believe it or not, FLCN, by just executing a sell where I didn't have shares because I was trying to buy and shorted it by accident. But generally, I mean, the insanity of shorting at this level, and so I'm not even answering your question, but the insanity of shorting at this level is, for anyone else who's curious, that's what, look at this, pathetic. So your expectations with front load included, quite low. However, I will keep an eye on this, because if they come up with something more exciting than these are the good guys, if they come up with something better than that, no, I mean, I misunderstood the question. So, I mean, my 83% in this circumstance, more decent than I expected. Thank you. Dad covered it. All right. Do I have to? Yeah, I do. I gotta look at Danner. All right, great interaction today. Let's try again another time. Thank you. Covered it. Interesting. Interesting. I already got it on the list. 37 Thou Wow. I Dad. Nice. I Gambit. Hearing dilution done. Can we confirm it? Let's try. Because my ears, they just don't work anymore. They used to work until I went broke. And then I shut them off. We're having a lot of fun, though. I think that's the main thing. And if you thought we weren't, we actually are. So, promo. Nice pickup here. That was too low down here, wasn't it? Some of you did really well on that. Congratulations. Bag. Banjo and Matilda bag. That was one fishy ass 8K, wasn't it? Yes, this is bothering me. Hearing earnings. Was that nasty or what? Bag, nice run. This was also a suspicious reverse merger, was it not? Nice run for a day. Someone getting really slick with the fake news. The fake news mergers that have come, like which I would say might be Banjo and Matilda and RB&W. It almost would look like I'm writing them, but like with worse websites. Like if I were to do them, I'd have a website that gets you so engrossed in it that you don't even realize that you've been holding it for an hour. It would just be endless data that you would be DDing while it ran. If I did a fake merger 8K, that's what this website would be 1,000 pages deep with DD and information and all generic names that you can't Google. Do it right, guys. Gosh darn it. Mr. Kabir. It would be the IKEA web. You'd be lost in it. Oy vey, 98,000. What's going on? Yeah. It would be it would be perfect. PSAT, also known as helium play. SMPW, is the dilution done? PCLI, talk about fucking baked. $434,000 for 12%. I'll run some steps on it. Holy goodness. And then they why you bashed it, bro? I'm not. I don't bash anything. I mean, I just bought a custodianship today, or would have if I could have not been discriminated against because of where I live. Like it's not about bashing. It's about whether or not it can move. That's all I care about. Back. This was unfortunate. FinTech. Another 100 grand doesn't move. Screw this. There's nothing else. OMHE. Oh, good. Can they run it out? I doubt it. OMHE, stop sign, that's cool. Disclosures, August. Not bad. 1515D, they're off of SEC filing, no problemo. September. Shit. 422,000 on the float. At dub one, very nice. This is where we get into these boredom trades, right? Nevada. Annual list in July. So technically, they are still SOS active, right? Because SOS default is not revoked or defunct. It's just, hey, y'all are late with your filing. So you can still squeeze filings through into OTC markets if you're in default. So I'm not writing OMHE off necessarily. However, OMHE has done nothing. And I'm not even necessarily sure. Oh, goodness. What on earth? And it got heavily diluted, huh? As much as I don't have to right now, of all the turds that are floating around out there, because you think, oh, this is a trip. Right, it got brought down to trips because it was rude and diluted. Show me the share structure immediately. So in August, it was 422 million. And I would say that it's a lot heavier now, but it's obviously able to move on relatively low dollar volume. How much did it do? I'm not convinced yet. If I saw something come out on OMHE that sounded reasonable, I would definitely try it. No question about it. And if it came out as an official OTC disclosure, all right. I gambit. Hearing dilution done. Seeing dilution done? Let's try. I'm always trying things. That's what I'm all about. I'm fun. And I'm trying things. Excuse me. 393 million shares on the OS, and the unrestricted is 338 million as of yesterday. So at the bare minimum, there's 54 million that could get dumped by the restricted holder, which may, and this restricted holder may very well be the person that ensured you heard about IGMB today. But their intent with that 54 million shares, do they want to convert it now? Do they want to convert it later? I don't know. But is dilution done? Because if I'm this guy, time to do tweets. So let's see if dilution's done. Now, first and foremost, I will say that not long ago, in February. It made a much bigger move on equivalent volume. I would say that it made a much bigger move on similar volume. And I would say that either this is dilutive dumping volume, which it most likely is, or it's a front load ahead of a promotion. Because every other time that it's tried to pop, no one was able to fill the cheaps. Would you agree? Excuse me. What is this? What am I looking at right now? Show me the 10K. What's the amended 10K? Is there anything in it? Just this? All right, here we go. Let's go through the balance sheet, and then we're going to look at the notes payable, convertible, and see if there's a convertible note coming up that may lead to this promotion. If there is, in fact, a promotion, we'll find out. Excuse me. Here's the current share structure or options. They have options to buy. They have old school warrants and things, which is really not relevant to us today. Can I see a balance sheet, please? Here we go. So by the way, no one here is making any money. Oh, for the love of God. Thank you. God. Assets, Dickola. But they do have an asset in intangible assets, like all this right here. Liabilities. They have a lot of liabilities, and those are real, by the way. Derivative liability, which is people out there with outstanding shares as of December 31st. And there's been a lot of dumping since then. And convertible notes, 337,000. But that's as of December 31st. So it's entirely possible it's been dumped out since then. So this doesn't help me right now. Sales, nothing. But their SG&A, salaries, bonuses, different things like that. Everything that went into making $29,000 cost them $1.1 million. And then additional amortization with regard to some debt they have. Balances, share balance, common stock, outstanding, OS, 214 million as of December. Today, $393 million. So actually not a lot more added to the OS in the last 4 months. Only another 100 million. Massive losses. Just another terrible balance sheet. And you see here, they shored up the losses with proceeds from issuances of convertible notes. $709,000 worth, which, I mean, could be God knows how many shares. So we've got an idea of the health of the business, and it's poor. We have 84. Oh, hold on. We have 39 mentions of the word notes. I'd like to get a list of notes payable. So they had one note due in February of 2019. And if we look at our chart on iGambit, there it is, getting converted. February 28th. But remember, the note is due February 28th. But it's convertible anytime after 180 days at the option of the holder. And in December 31st, they converted it early into 14 million shares. So they decided they wanted the money now. We have a note here for April 15th, 2019. But they decided to convert 15,000 of that debt, only 15,000 of it, into 5 million shares. And there's still a balance there as of December 30th of 38,000. Now, here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. If you were to ask me where I would find data about the status of these convertible notes, the bad news is I would not be able to provide it because they have not filed any further disclosure since this. We have a convertible note that is due on May 30th, 2019. But remember, on every single one of these, the deal that they made is that the note is convertible at any time after 180 days of it being issued. And this person who has $53,000 worth, now keep in mind, for $15,000, this person got 5 million shares. And at the price that it was at in November, 0.01, that's worth 150 grand. So these things are hugely, like the multiples on these convertible notes are massive. So we have a convertible note that is due on May 30th, and we have no information about this person having converted it to shares yet. But here's the thing, between this date and today, they could have converted it at any time. And because this company has no further disclosures since December, we don't know if it's converted and getting ready to dump. This company issued an 8% convertible note for 33 grand, which could be God knows how many. And that is due June 30th, 2019. But the thing is, 180 days after September has come and gone. So at any point, this person could have converted that 33,000 shares. And if that other person got 15 million for 15 grand, then we could be looking at another 30 million shares coming on stream here. June 30th. So there are a ton of convertible shares out there that we are unable to confirm. So the question is, based on this, the only place I can find out about their convertible debt is disclosures. And based on the fact that iGambit has been dumping in the absence of dilutive market makers on the bid and ask, sneak dumps, could you definitively say that dilution is done on iGambit? It could be. It could be. But I can't confirm it. Therefore, I will not hear it. Now, if it, like, look at this candle, look at this stubby ass candle here with this volume, right? If it had moved like big on Nova, like that or something, like if it had done hundreds of percent on little ass volume, I would say maybe it's not getting dumped into. You know, maybe we can see evidence on the chart of a lack of dilution here, but all I can see is lower highs and still heavy duty volume, which doesn't speak to a chart like Avoy, which by the way got no volume today. But I mean, it doesn't speak to a chart like this. See, like there's the run. You know what? I'm going to zoom it way out so you can see it. There's the run, which was likely diluted. And then you could see further moves were stifled big time. Even further big shots of volume brought you nothing. And now you're getting massive price action on zero volume. That's what no dilution looks like. From here to here. Let me zoom it in. Look, dilution, not dilution. So, I'm not convinced. What is this? And that's just good practice. Because as a retail investor who has no desire to interact with another human and knows people that trade real markets in a real way without sitting in chat rooms, which is most, by the way, most humans that trade are not in chat rooms. And as one of the people, I would look at that balance sheet and go, right. Nah. Gemini disclosures none. News Zipperino. Certainly, I mean, if you want to try a lot, share structure, delightful. Down here, who knows what the float is though? I can provide you some thoughts, yeah, absolutely, because it did get some dollar volume today, so I do owe it a fair shot. And then we're curtailing interactivity. Back. IDNG really nice. Some of y'all did really well here. What did we look at? At Dub 14. This is a cease trade for me where I live. but a dub 14 on that float, pink current, we had to give it a shot, and a few you did really, really well. Congratulations. I really wish I could have traded it. SCNA just seems to only go down, if I recall. But it moved. Did it? $19 to 0.04, back to 19 in 1 month and a half. 1 month. That's not moving where I'm from, and where I'm from, in my area. Actually, I'm going to parent-teacher interviews today, which for me is kind of a strange thing because, like, it's at the school where I went to because I'm just from here, and you know, it feels like a very old thing. Like I'm officially, like I'm fully there with adulthood. You know, and that's just happening obviously in the area where I'm from. So, disclosures BYOC 8K. Welcome to a nightmare. And this is what I want to tell you today. BYOC has so many millions of dollars worth of bag holders in it. And their dream was that they were going to reach the NASDAQ. That was the whole pump, uplist. And tomorrow, they are going to lose everything. They have been averaging down for a year and a half. In the face of ridiculous dilution. Ridiculous. They've been averaging down since January of 2018. It makes me sick. And tomorrow, their dreams will be ruined. And tomorrow, if you're looking for volume from your peers, and we get into this all the time, when something gets when something really, really baggy gets crushed, like a CMGO or something like that, SIPE, if you were around, the tickers that we like that our peers are interested in, it better be damn good if you're going to buy it, because a lot of people are going to lose very, very much tomorrow. Woodbag, NNRX. I mean, the list is endless. It's going to be a tough day tomorrow. And they were hearing that an 8K is coming. BYOC has announced, Team Miko, that they are not going to the NASDAQ, which is what they've been averaging down for the last year and a half. Via 8K to the SEC. So, tough stuff. I mean, it's a masterclass in pump and dump. SNPW, I think you're right, Jen. I mean, SNPW first and foremost. I think for a year and a half. I don't know who that is, but a lot of people have been. SMPW, until they dump out that full 500 million, Jen, they're not going anywhere. But if it gets to trips, which it very well could, on this setup, because I don't think they're in a position to be able to do a reverse split again yet. When did they do it? Maybe they are. But they did it back, 2018. Like, this doesn't look any better at all. This looks like iGambit chart. Like, how is this better? There'll come a day, though. It's just when. And it could be trips. Could be low teens. Honestly. Because that 500 million AS is pretty decent. Bag. Fuck it. This had an attorney letter come out. Listen. This is why on the steps we look for resistances by looking for bag holders. And where I'm from, and I've told you a little bit about where I'm from over the last year. We're closing in on a year. Where I'm from, I got baggies as high as a penny plus. On and off for 2 years, and almost very few have sold. So when an attorney letter comes out on something like that, because I instantly look at that daily to see how many bag holders are on it. And when an attorney letter comes out on something like that, which is just the final filing, like you put through all your filings to OTC markets. And because you don't have to have your filings audited, they're trying to look for something that might give them a bit of legitimacy. And so you hire a lawyer to sign a document that says that he or she saw your filings and they look good. That's the requirement if you're pink current. So an attorney letter is like, it's like nothing, because I know of attorneys that aren't the best. I know of some that are the best, but I certainly know they are not qualified to audit financials. So it's really the stupidest step of all, and no one buys an attorney letter. And if you're in a room where people are waiting for attorney letter to come out, and you shouldn't be any other room, by the way. If you're in another room and you're focused on anything they're saying, you're missing the quality. But if you are in a room where everyone's baggy, attorney letter coming, bro. Okay? It's not going to move the needle. Okie doke. No filing since 2013. That's fine. No news. Company profile. Share structure. Super nice. Wyoming. No problemo. Go right here. Save some time. Dana Resources. Inactive. It administratively dissolved. And the dissolution came in 2015. 4 years down. I'm going to, first of all, this is a bag. Okay, so let's just clear the decks.
It moved. Pat.
Yes.
It moved.
And? But let's find out why, and let's take a look at it. So if you are still in these spheres, excuse me, you could at least identify whether or not there's something to it, or if you have a chance, right? Because this isn't about telling you what to trade. Trade what you want. Just use the framework, right? Which isn't some bullshit. This one indicator, this one algorithm, right? Like, no, they're very common sense, DD. But let's see if you got a fighting chance on Danner. Oh, fuck off with this. This is. Oh. I don't like that. This guy's got a link. God bless me. Holy shit. Jefferson City headlines? Look at this asshole. So today, a lot of PRs came out on a lot of really Low level. What was that? Jackson Hole News? Seeking Alpha. You can pay Seeking Alpha to tell you anything, by the way. If you thought that you had a chance on Seeking Alpha, I got news for you. You can pay them to tell you anything. I'll do it one day. If people stop quitting, I'll do it one day and I'll make something very funny and we'll all have a laugh. And we'll just blow that shit up. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. Anyways, I'm going to save you the time because I'm very busy. I've got my lip to deal with. Everything's just out of control. So anyways, ISBG, an endless pump and dump. With a caveat emptor now. That only went down. Jen told me. She said, Pat, why are you doing that? I didn't have an answer. This is now looking at a potential merger with an SOS defunct ticker, and the news came out today. Cool. Okay. Hey. Oh. The news came out today, and somehow a bunch of people were able to get a bunch yesterday. How much? Let's calculate profitability. That's okay. I mean, it's okay. 232 grand today. Show me what I asked, please. 21 million shares between 7 and 14. So let's take the average. Let's just say dub. Actually, you can look, by the way. I'm sorry. The bulk of the action here yesterday, they got what? It did hit dub 14, but you can see the majority of the size here was 6 to 8 to 11. The majority here to 8. So let's say it's more heavily weighted towards 8. So we'll say trip 9. 21 million shares. What did this hit today? $18 grand. $75 grand. Now, paying Seeking Alpha is pretty cheap compared to 75 grand. So the thing is, the only reason I show this to you is not because I'm high and mighty or telling you you can't trade it. I mean, think of the things that we've purchased. It's just whether or not it should be a real thing, Rich. Honestly, it should. Jen has taught me a lot about patience. A lot. And I imagine Jen's voice in my head when I'm about to slap ask on something. So the question is this. Am I saying don't do it? No. Am I saying don't hold it? Yes, indeedy. Am I saying put it on a short leash? When someone has front-loaded a fair amount of it? Because I mean, the front load was 1/4 of the volume today, was buying off a front load. So, it's just go in with the eyes wide open. That's all. And I just felt like on principle, I didn't have to today. I'm going to save up for something that takes in more than 230,000. So if it bored you, I apologize, but you know what? I'm in the game for survival, because God only knows if this piece of shit with Kansas ass news or whatever it was on, if something big happened, this would be whacked right to flat. And if I was taking a PP or eating a Sammy, everyone would have dumped this for something real. So that's the food for thought. That's all. That's it. I have to go. Thoughts on AXA? Yeah. Quick. AXA is a dump city. Bin dump city. The more you zoom it out, you can see how terrible it is. News came out today that's identical to all their other news, that they bought tens of millions of dollars worth of property. Except today you had the benefit of them front loading it for 2 days. So the probability of this moving, because if resistance is, the only thing that resistances are is bag holders. That's what they don't tell you in douche chart school on YouTube. That's all resistances are baggies. And this has a hell of a lot of them up to 35. And this barely even touched the tiniest little bit of how many baggies are sitting in this. And they are not selling for 100% loss or 50% loss. When do you get out? When do you get into life? Why are you in? That's the bigger question. Let's head out. Jump on the Discord. We'll have a conversation. We'll take it to the Discord. Have a good night.